Welcome to Adjust Your Mirrors, the #1 empowerment podcast show on the planet. Are you in need of motivation? Are you ready to take your personal and professional life to the next level? Then you've come to the right place. Adjust Your Mirrors. This is the podcast that's devoted to helping you see more clearly by making small adjustments. And now, here's your host, Reginald C. Allen.
Hey. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Adjust Your Mirrors. We are back. I'm back. Reginald C. Allen. Yes, I am back. Do me a favor, fam, as we always do. Need to do a little housekeeping. Make sure you are telling your friends about the Adjust Your Mirrors podcast show. If you haven't already subscribed to the show, make sure you go to iTunes. Make sure you go to Spotify. Make sure you go, where else are we? Make sure you go to YouTube. Yes, YouTube at Adjust Your Mirrors. And make sure you are following us in the Facebook group page at Adjust Your Mirrors. Come on over and be part of the family, all right? Listen, Oscars was a couple of weeks ago. And, I didn't watch the Oscars, but I got an opportunity to see everyone who won an Oscar. And I want to talk about Spike Lee. Spike Lee won his first Oscar after being in the business for over 30 years. Now imagine, year after year, he's hoping and he's praying that maybe he can be recognized for the content that he's put out. But again, he didn't get the award. And then year number 2, he didn't get the award. 30 years of being in the business, and he finally won his first Oscar. So I want to talk about that today because so many of us, we start things, we start businesses, we start these workout programs, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? We'll start it, and if we don't see instant results, we'll quit. Spike Lee, 30 years being in the business, and he continued to make content. Now, here's the thing that's interesting about Spike Lee, right? In the movie that he actually won the Oscar for, many people believe that that's not his best work. So that's a whole nother message, okay? You put out something and you think this should get recognized and it doesn't get recognized, something else gets recognized. And, as you guys know, I've watched several documentaries, and some of these artists, right, they'll put out music and they'll say something like, yo, it took me 10 minutes to write that song. I never knew that this song was going to be such a hit. The message is this: success is not for the weak. If you're going to accomplish your goals, you have to be in it for the long haul. So many of us, we want to just get into something and we want instant results. And that's not going to happen, right? Success is not for the weak in heart. And if you want to be successful, the #1 thing that you have to do is dismiss the microwave mindset. This is a journey. And I wish I could tell you it's going to happen overnight. And I also want you to be aware of, again, you hear me say this week after week, be be very aware of people that are preaching this. Oh, you can do this and it's only 3 steps and you're going to accomplish it today. You're going to be a millionaire today. Listen, it doesn't work that way. And even though I give you principles and I give you steps, these are things that we are constantly working on. It's not just you do these 3 steps and you're going to be successful. You're going to develop as a human being. You're going to be a better version of yourself. It doesn't work like that. This is a constant journey. Tying this into Spike Lee, I read this article a few years ago and it said, why successful people take 10 years to succeed overnight. Nothing happens overnight. Now, that might be the first time that we saw this artist or first time we saw this, whatever it is, we saw this person on YouTube and they're successful and we say, oh, wow, it happened overnight. No, you start doing the research and you'll realize that these people have been doing that for over 10, 20 years. There's a lot of people that I follow on, on podcasting. There's like Sam Crowley. He's one who I really get inspired by. And it's amazing because when you first listen to Sam, you're like, wow, Sam is really cool. His message is just really down to earth. And he's very successful at doing what he's doing. But when you do the research, Sam will let you know, man, I've been doing this for over 13 years. I've been podcasting for over 13 years. It didn't happen overnight. So he is telling us, the listeners, be encouraged, continue to put out content. It's going to take time. You have to gain that momentum, and it's going to take years to create that momentum. So I want to encourage you who are listening today. Success is not for the weak. We're not weak. And you guys can probably hear my kids in the background. Now, I could edit that, or I could just be authentic and let it go. That's okay. They're playing in the other room. Now, should I yell at them right now and say, hey, I'm doing my podcast? But, hey, whatever. They're having fun. I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. I don't know what they're doing back there. But, hey, we're all a family, so I'm not even going to edit that. I'm just going to leave it in. So let's get back to the message. Success is not for the weak, okay? And I'm learning this because I started my podcast a year ago. And I'm learning every single time I do this podcast, there's different things that I'm learning, And one of the things that I've learned more than anything is that very few of us are naturally gifted from the start, right? We would like to think we are, and in our mind, we're the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time. But no, it's going to take a combination of practice, passion, and the will to keep at it. That's how you're going to obtain success. Practice, passion, and the will to keep at it. Unfortunately, most people don't want to practice. Most people don't really have the passion for it. And guess what happens? They don't stick to it. And here is the real deal. Some people are naturally gifted, but because they refuse to implement the principles like practice and passion and commitment, they don't ever achieve their goals. I always use this example. Larry Bird, one of the great athletes. Now, he wasn't my favorite, okay? But naturally, he was not gifted like Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson. But he was great. You talk to those guys, they'll tell you, man, Bird was a beast. He couldn't jump. He couldn't run. But this dude was a beast. Why? Because he practiced and he was passionate about cultivating the gift that was in him. So that's what I want to tell you today. You want to be successful. You want to obtain your personal, professional goals. You got to be committed. Roadblocks are going to be there, right? Setbacks are going to be there, and they're not there to trip you up or to prevent you from moving forward, but they are there to test you. And the question I have for you is, will you continue to push even when there's no sign of progress, or will you say, I'm going to stop. I can't do it. It's too hard to say. What are you going to do? You got to push past that. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be setbacks, but you have to continue to push through those things. We have to get to a place in our life where we say, you know what? I don't care what I go through. I'm going to achieve my goals. But it's up to you. It's up to me. We can't sit around and waiting for people to help us. Save me, help me. No, we got to put in the work. And once we put in the work, the results will come. Overnight success. Hey, that sounds beautiful, but that's not the reality. It's going to take multiple years of you just pursuing what God put in you. That's what it's going to take. You pursuing the assignment that God has already gifted for you to do. Stay on course. Take a deep breath. Understand, success doesn't come overnight. Take a deep breath. Understand, success only comes to those who persevere and enjoy the journey along the way. It's okay. You're going to be okay. Don't get discouraged because you're not where you want to be, okay? Even when I look at myself, I've been doing this podcast for over a year now. I'm not where I want to be with the podcast. Yes, I would like more listeners, but you know what? I'm 64 episodes into the podcast. So if anyone ever looks me up who just started listening to me, they're going to say, oh, wow, he's got 64. Wow. Okay, cool. And that's what I tell people around me. Oh, you're still doing that podcast? How many people are listening to you? It doesn't matter, because once I get to the place where I have multiple people looking at me, guess what? I'm going to have a catalog. I'm going to have footprints in the sand. Are you creating footprints in the sand, my friend? Are you? Are you leaving behind evidence that you're working on the things that God created for you to accomplish? Or are you just laying back chilling? I'm chilling. Which one are you doing? Make up in your mind that you're going to accomplish all that God has for you, okay? And understand, success, it doesn't happen overnight. You got to put in the work and the results will come. So with that being said, family, again, I need you to do me a favor. Let everyone know about the Adjust Your Mirrors podcast show. Tell a friend, and make sure when you tell that friend that you tell that friend to tell another friend. All right? Until next time, be empowered.
Thank you for listening to the Adjust Your Mirrors podcast with Reginald C. Allen. Be sure to visit the Adjust Your Mirrors private Facebook group, and don't forget to follow Reginald on Twitter at Reginald C. Allen. Please remember, when you're listening on iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating review. Until next time, be empowered.